Hello everybody, Kip Teitsort from DT4EMS and an episode of Chronicles of a Culture Changer. It's been a while since we've done one. Been kind of covered up, done a lot of traveling lately, taught a couple of different instructor classes in two different states and had an absolute great time. But before I get into talking about a little bit of that has me so excited as far as where we're about to go and the changes that you're about to see across the country with what we're doing with our EVE classes, let me bring up an idea that I had last night. Again, one other way that I'm trying to show we have such an issue with the culture of emergency medicine and the problems that our frontline staff are facing. Well, I'd like to bring this up by first saying that everything that we do that becomes accepted as reasonable is usually based upon our training and experience. So let me give you a couple of quick examples. A child dials 911. A police officer shows up and realizes that it is a 2-year-old playing on a phone. So here is a 911 hang-up that was initially dispatched as a 911 hang-up. A police officer is going to respond because they don't know exactly what's going on, and based upon the officer's training and experience, once he gets there, realizes that this is not an emergency, that it is actually a child playing on the telephone. Everything now stops. The police officer doesn't try to take anyone into custody. He's not going to arrest the child. He's not arresting parents. He's not drawing his weapon on anyone. So again, training and experience let the police officer know, although he was originally dispatched to some sort of an emergency, once he got there, he or she realizes it's not an emergency and the call is done. Let's change that up for a minute. Let's say a child in school pulls the fire alarm. Somebody's playing a practical joke, or at a business, a fire alarm goes off. The fire department will roll. Once the fire department shows up, the professionals, based upon their training and experience, show up and realize, hey, there's no fire. This was an accidental set-off or an accidental trip, whatever it may have been, a kid playing a prank. And again, the firefighters will not grab all the hoses off, start spraying water on a building that has no fire. They turn around and, based upon their training and experience, realize this is not a true emergency, that they need to use their professional skills. So let's flash forward and talk about emergency medicine for just a moment. Why is it that everything, regardless of the situation, gets funneled into the fact that this is still a patient? And so part of the culture change in training is recognizing, or letting your staff recognize and allowing it to be okay, that not every person they are called to is truly a patient. This is one of the most difficult things to get into people. When we have a student who is brand new, just joins and is in an EMT or a paramedic or a first responder class, and we explain the difference between a patient and an aggressor, they look at us like, well, yeah, that makes total sense to me. But if we have someone who's had 6 months of experience as an ED nurse, an EMT, a paramedic, or the firefighter working on the rescue unit, it is absolutely like trying to pull teeth to get these people to understand that just because you were called doesn't force that person to be a patient. We have to change this. This is why so many problems are out there with providers either using excessive force and taking custody, essentially illegally, of someone who basically didn't need an ambulance. This is us running up these $30,000 bills for just a person who was either high or intoxicated who had no medical complaint. So see, why is it that a police officer trained and experienced in their profession can show up and go, you don't need a cop? Or a firefighter can show up on a fire scene, a hazmat scene, whatever it may have been, and go, this isn't a problem with us, we're leaving, that you didn't require us. But why is it that if a person who is either just high or drunk, and I'm using those as an example because those are the ones that are causing the most problematic situations for our providers, why is it that a trained professional in their field can't show up and go, it's not a patient? See, this is what we do when we talk about changing the culture. It's much more than just a few techniques your people have to learn. So if you're a frontline staff member, you need to be telling people about we exist, and hopefully we can help you, because what's funny is we've trained thousands and thousands of people across the United States, and the funny thing is every time that I get with somebody in front of a room, or our trainers get in front of a room, or our instructors get in front of a room, people, it takes them 16 hours to understand the message that we're trying to discuss. So with that, guys, training and experience is what gives people critical thinking skills. I hope you will take a moment, maybe share this video, and hopefully some others who have the decision-making capabilities at your facility or at your service will then at least start to research the subject a little bit more. Because unfortunately, some administrators are thinking, well, if we train our staff in self-defense, then we're at liability. Well, we just beg to differ that. And again, we have a whole lot of other topics on that very subject that you can see on the dt4ems.com website. So flash forward now. I'm pretty excited and pretty stoked because so many things are happening with the company as far as DT4EMS LLC and the growth that we're projecting due to the fact of not something that I have done, but it's because of the amazing people that are now part of our team that are helping direct, whether it be curriculum changes that help it easier for the end user to retain material, or a structure of how we are making sure we maintain the integrity of the material as it's passed out. A lot of things like that have me very excited. I literally just got home last night from um, Michigan. I was at Michiana Healthcare Center, and just a couple weeks before that, we were teaching an instructor class down in Atlanta. And I'm telling you, I am on fire. Cannot believe. Oh, and then in between that, we were in North Carolina, and then in a couple of weeks, I'll be in Alaska. So hopefully, you'll get to see us at one of these upcoming events, which you can check out on our events link of the website. But if you'll do me a favor, please tell the folks that we exist. We got tons of information to help our frontline staff. And with that, I'll finally cut this one off so we don't run it too long. But I'm Kip Teitsort, and I'm just the founder of DT4EMS. It's the people that we have out sharing the message that have really made this a heck of a lot better than what it was when I started with just one guy in a basement. So thanks for taking the time and watching this, and we'll talk to you soon.